afternoon, people. Scotty G here. You'll probably know who I am by now, but obviously there's quite a few who don't. I'm going to do this video. People have been asking us who I am, this, that, and the other, and saying, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, your story, whatever, you know, this, that, and the other. So today is that day. I am going to tell my story, basically. And I thought what we'd do is, I thought we'd go down going down the James English route, how he starts. So, like he says, we'll go right back to the start, where I grew up, family life, early childhood, and then obviously in between, and then the man I am today. Okay, so let's get started. Excuse me. Just have a nice cup of coffee. Right, obviously my name's Scott Gray. I'm 37. I was born in Newcastle upon Tyne in a place called Walker. It's council estate. It's a hard place. I went to Walker school. Obviously both parents, mum and dad, William and Valerie, great parents. One brother, Shane, older, 13 years older actually, so quite a big age gap. Let me see. Basically had a good childhood, you know. Mum and dad were great. They'd done everything for her, you know. Taught how to respect money, learned the value of money. Like say, in fact I was just discussing it with my girlfriend the other day. Like say for instance at school or whatever, if a brand new pair of Nike Air Max come out or whatever, the latest trainers or the latest game console, you know, I couldn't just run to my mum and dad and say, listen, oh I want these £100 pair of trainers, or you know, a couple £100 or whatever it was at the time to spend on a game console, and just get it there and then. You know, there was kids at school obviously that could do that, you know, but this unless it was a birthday or Christmas, you know, then I would get it. But other than that, you know, I had to wait. And obviously at the time you think, fucking, you know, I'm being hard done by. But no, when you mature and become older, you realise that it was done for the better, for the greater good, and to see the bigger picture when you get older, you know. And obviously I've learned to value that. So I respect my mum and dad massively, you know. And obviously I'm mourning their passing. They're both passed away now, unfortunately. So it's just me. I've got a brother obviously, but he's in prison. He's doing 15 years, but we'll get to that later on. And obviously my girlfriend, you know, she's a very big, massive part of my life, has been for a long time now. Long time. And I love her dearly. You know, I'd be lost without her. She's my rock, basically. You know, when I was going through them obviously the tough times, grieving for my parents, you know, she was there through and through, and she was a godsend, basically. But yeah, I mean, childhood, obviously, you know, got to high school, was quite good at school, not fantastic, but you know, I could do it. But it bored at school. When I was there, you know, possibly with having an older brother and seeing, you know, what he was doing, going to nightclubs. He was a doorman at 17, you know, back in the 90s, and he always had flash cars and this, that, and the other. And I looked up to him, you know, being that impressionable kid, you know, and I wanted to be like him, basically. But you know, I went through school. I didn't really revise for my GCSEs or nothing like that, but I passed. You know, I think I got about 10. I got all 10 GCSEs. You know, best was in. I got an A in maths. Best I had, and A in history, because I love history. History is a passion for me. I love it. Fascinates me, the ancients, like the Romans and the Greeks. Greek gods, Roman gods, the gladiators, all that, the Mayans, everything like that, and even further back, obviously, as well, you know. Anyway, um, yeah, like I say, I got a B in graphic design and in A&P studies, and I think the rest were like D's, and I think I got one E. Actually got a C in German, would you believe? Yeah, but my dad was adopted in wartime, 1945, and obviously his mum was a married woman and she had an affair with this foreign soldier. My dad traced her, but she wouldn't give him much information, really. All she said was that she said he was an Italian. But I mean, I've heard Portuguese, Italian, Greek. I don't know. But it's somewhere of that region, So I do. It's funny not to know your true ancestry, your ancestors, the roots. But anyway, it is what it is. My granddad fought in the Second World War. Tommy Wall, phenomenal man. He used to tell us war stories. And he fought in Burma against the Japanese, and it was customary, I believe. Well, so he told me. When the war ended, in battle, the Japanese soldiers and the British soldiers exchanged weapons, and obviously the Japanese very honourable and ancient beliefs, and this Japanese soldier gave me granda a Japanese dagger, World War II dagger. It's a beautiful item, and it hung on a plaque in my granda's house for years, and I used to look at it and I loved it, and I spent a lot of time with my granddad. He was like a second dad, really. He took us to school. I stayed there in the 6 weeks holidays, and when my mum and dad were at work, I always stayed with him, and he used to tell me and my cousin war stories. Obviously, but he spent a lot more time with me, and he passed away in 1999, and he promised us that dagger, that Japanese dagger, so that's all. I never wanted nothing, and yeah, I got that passed on to me through him, and it's my most treasured item, basically. It's you couldn't put a value on it, basically. But anyway, yeah. So school didn't really like it that much. I was quite good. I was on the basketball team. I was on the football team, but I was good at sports, rounders, swimming, athletics, 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 8. I've done all them. The sports days was quite good. Like I say, I was good at them. Good at sports. When we played on the basketball team, we went to play at the arena with the Newcastle Eagles, and I got picked to do a training session with them, but it never amounted to anything, unfortunately. But so when I was about 15, I discovered golf, and a lot of people say it's boring, but it's a skill nonetheless. And I took to it very well, and I've had one lesson, and I ended up being the captain of the junior team at 13 years of age at Parklands Golf Club, Gosforth, and the greatest achievement, well, one of the greatest achievements what I'd done was we were playing at Orchard Hall one day, a really good team, and I was obviously the number one because I had the lowest handicap. And it was, I think I was on a five handicap back then, and I was between 13 and 14, and their number one was off scratch, you know. And really, I mean, he was 17. He was borderline. He used to play in the senior team as well. So, and I beat him on the last tour, you know, and they were over the moon. It was the only win we had that day out of the 12 players that we had as well. We used to play Stableford points, and I beat him. I beat him on the last tour. Yeah, but I've won a few competitions over the years. You know, I've got a few trophies. I'll show you them in a bit. But yeah, I mean, I played for quite a while. The plan was when I turned 16, I was going to work in the pro shop in Parklands, and then obviously, because to go pro on tour, you know, you've got to be like, it's not just having a scratch handicap, sorry. You know, you've got to be like at least 3, 4 below that to stand any chance, because you know you're going up against the best of the best. You know, I played a kid, the kid who I've only heard of who's turned pro. I played him at the Bridle Path, Andrew Minigan. Probably look him up. The last I heard, he was on tour, and what a player! Best golfer I've ever faced. And I mean, I'm not being big-headed, but I am quite decent. And you know, I had a knack for like fading it and drawing it, and I could, you know, my perfect conditions were like that I like to play in was like early in the morning when it was damp-ish, but clear skies, no wind. You know, I could just stop the ball dead, bump. You know, I had good judging distance. You know, but I played Andrew Minigan, and we played them at their place at the Bridle Path. So obviously that's a bit of a disadvantage because they know the course better than anyone. And excuse me. And you know, I didn't, to be honest, in all fairness, in my defence, I didn't play that well. You know, probably played about 50% that day for some reason or another. It just didn't go my way, you know. And he beat us. He beat us what's called 5 and 4. He was 5 because it's match play. You play in the junior team, and he was 5 holes up. He ended up being 5 holes up with 4 left to play. But some considered that a victory, how good he was at the time. But I didn't. I'm not among them and thinking that, you know. But he was the greatest player I've ever played, and he obviously, you know, he's proved it because he's turned pro now. So maybe things would have been different if I'd been on my A game, you know. Maybe if they'd come to us, but we'll never know anyway. But anyway, I played golf for like, say, from being 12-year-old till about, I think I was 17ish, 18. And then obviously you discover going out. You know, I started going to Newcastle, you know, the clubs and bars in Newcastle, big market, when I was young, when I was like, or probably wasn't even 16, 15, 16. And I was getting in because I looked a lot older. And obviously discovering that. And then the lads who I used to play with, they just all seemed to stop. And although my manager, Ron Simpkin at the time, and my dad also were really not happy with this for just giving it up. Unfortunately, I did give it up. And when I left school, I got an apprenticeship as a plumbing and heating engineer at H. Malone and Sons. Served me 4 years apprenticeship at college and on site, and qualified as a NVQ level 3 plumbing and heating engineer. Done that from being 16 right the way through, obviously, till I come out my time when I was 20. And then I left Malone's and started working for other companies and agencies as well. Many jobs. But see, obviously I moved from Walker at the end of 99 up to North Tyneside. Mum and Dad wanted to move, you know, so be closer to our family, because they lived up there, and obviously with my granddad passing away, he used to live across the road from the USC, so it was hard for her to look out the window every day and see his house and him not being there, but you can understand, it was difficult. And so anyway, we moved, and things going great, things going really well. Yeah. And then basically the credit crunch hit. I mean, well, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit there. I mean, obviously, I can take you through my party times. I went to some great places. If you're from Newcastle, you'll remember Icon. Wicked nightclub. Legends was all right. But like basically the ones I frequented more so was Icon, Foundation, which was formerly the Shindig. Also Rock Shots on a Saturday. Rock Shots on a Saturday was wicked, man. Unbelievable. It was fucking mint. If you like to take ecstasy, it was fucking good. And obviously used to go. Obviously discovered the love drug ecstasy, and it was fucking amazing. I went to some great places, man. I went to Creamfields like 2000, 2001. I missed it in 2002 because I went to Greece on holiday. But I went back. The last time I was there was 2004. When you used to see the Cyber Kids, from Gatecrasher, fucking mint, man. It was fucking amazing, that. In Liverpool, just on an airfield. Absolutely wicked. Miss it. I miss it, but I've had my days doing that now. That's it's just that era's gone, to be honest, more or less. I think it's not really as it was. To be honest, I caught the back end of it anyway, because it started popping in the late 80s when I was just a child, and then the 90s. You had the Coliseum and in Middlesbrough. Obviously, I was too young, I never got to go there, but I caught the back end of it. And it was good, it was decent, it was wicked. Been to some great places. Went to the Love Parade in Leeds, Roundhay Park. That was mint. That was a good day, good night out. Went night clubbing as well there. Stayed in Leeds, which was great. 2004, I was 21, and I started working on the door as a second job. So obviously I was still doing my plumbing, heating during the day, and now, I passed my driving test when I was 17. When I was 17, and when I was 21, I bought a Mondeo ST24 2.5 litre V6. For the time, it was a fucking wicked car, absolutely wicked. Just before that, actually, bought it's one of the best cars I've had, actually, a Mazda 323, but it was a 2 litre V6, and it was fast as fuck. White one. It was fast as fuck. I ended up writing it off, actually, up next to the airport. I was coming to a roundabout, and there was mud on the road, and I've skidded on the mud, and went and just locked up and just went straight into the lamppost. But it turned out, obviously, that me and my dad went and took pictures, and there'd been 3 write-offs in the last 6 months at that particular spot, because we were doing work on the road and there was no signs or nothing. So the highways had to take responsibility for it, And that's why I ended up getting the Mondeo. It was fast, that car, like, oh, believe me, it was quick. I'd done 160, that car. It was really quick. It was silver. It was nice. Anyway, so yeah, I was 21, 2004, and I got my doorman's badge. It was before the proper regulations come out. I'd done it at Gateshead Civic Centre, done a short course, and then got employed by Phoenix Security. Used to wear a black tie with gold Phoenix in the middle. And I worked on Icon nightclub, Don Tino's nightclub in Hexham. That was interesting. Fucking hell, my God, I've never seen so much fucking trouble and violence in all my life there. Got all the locals, you see, and they all know each other. It's fucking crazy, man. They had a cage on the DJ box, and fucking because we used to swap places during the evening. And obviously, if you fucking hell, man, if you buy that fucking DJ box, like on the DJ, we used to tie bottles and everything, man. The women were the worst, to be honest. They were a fucking nightmare, you know. But and plus it was a fucking hike up Hexham, cause it's like 25 fucking miles, you know what I mean? So you got to drive all the way up there and then all the way back on the night. But working Whitley Bay and all, Havana, Zinc, Banana Joe's, and Havana was where I first started, and bits of trouble. You know, I had the usual threats: "Oh, you're gonna get shot, you're gonna get stabbed, and all this, that, and the other." Bullshit, you know. But it was you know, I ended up getting sacked, and to be honest, I was getting bored of it anyway. The novelty shop wore off, you know. Because I was still young, I was still 21, you see. So when my pals were getting ready to go out, I was ready to get going to work. And it's just the novelty wore off. So I wasn't that bored when I got sacked, to be honest. You know, said that I went about what I did the wrong way, even though I fucking saved the life of another doorman. They said I used excessive force, and I could have got him in an arm lock, even though he spat blood at us, which is fucking